good morning. We here at a beautiful Florida winter morning, and topic that is on many people's mind is something that we don't like to talk about is end of life discussions, but it is important to many to put their minds at ease in terms of they want to have an open discussion about it. We in our community have been very active to assist everyone in the community to get the service that they need, especially with the limited Jewish resources that we have, not in New York or in Miami. We at Chabad have made that a priority by always reaching out to other funeral homes in town, with cemeteries. Matter of fact, we purchased a section, our own section, Chabad Cemetery here in Venice, beautiful section at Venice and Boulevard Gardens over 6 years ago. And it's been a tremendous pleasure to work together with Toale, especially with Jerry, who is not just Jerry's a real friend, and he's a strong Chabad member up in Sarasota.
Torah scholar.
A Torah scholar. He attends the JLI regularly. And just the whole team at Toale have been a real blessing to us. So we want to thank them for coming today, giving their seminar, and the end to ask questions. And of course, those who are watching on the recording, feel free to reach out to me or to Jerry with any questions. We're here to help. There will be more seminars after this regarding other questions related to end-of-life issues, medical end-of-life questions, Jewish traditions. Today it's going to be focused on what the funeral homes offer, and questions that we'll take from there. All right, Jerry, thank you.
Rabbi Schmerling, thank you so much for inviting. Put the clip on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting us to make a presentation before your JLI course. I think I'm going to stay afterwards. We have 2 funerals tomorrow, and I'll be unable to attend Rabbi Levy's seminar because I'm taking the same one, and I don't want to miss it. So if you don't mind, I think I'm going to sit in on this today. My first job here is to introduce 2 people, Robert Toale and his son Jeffrey, who are in the back, who are just going to say a few words. This is a family that has been doing funerals in Sarasota for about 90 years. And they're very well known. So Robert is president and Jeffrey is vice president. So go ahead, folks.
Good morning. We've been serving the Sarasota and Manatee communities for 3 generations now. And with Jerry and Frank, we put together a nice team to be able to help with any of your needs when it comes to end-of-life assistance. So thank you all for having us today. We're always available for any questions that you have, and just thank you all for welcoming us to the today. We're good.
Top says we're good. There's nothing about this topic that Robert Toale doesn't know. He could write the book. I'm also going to introduce at this time Frank Burns. He and I work as a team. He's what's called a family service counselor. And you will be hearing more from him. Closer to the mouth. We are here today to inform you of the advantages of pre-planning your funeral arrangement. Frank is going to go over details and so on and so forth. There is no pressure to do anything. This is an informational time. You have these folders, have our cards. You can call us at any time. Funeral homes are really divided in 2 parts. One is a funeral director who once someone dies, they are in charge of making all the arrangements, calling the rabbi, calling the cemetery, getting your money if you haven't prepaid, and so on. The other one is basically sales. We call them the Family Service Council. That's what Frank is. And he deals with helping people think about their arrangements and bringing that to fruition. And he will tell you the advantage. I have kind of a special position. Mine is called Jewish Community Liaison. I'm a member of about 15 synagogues and temples locally, including all 5 Chabads. They're all in my cell phone, all the names. And when I call them, they answer right away, even if they're busy, because they think, well, maybe someone has passed away. So they're very nice. Some things that we're going to talk about. What do you do if you have a cemetery plot up north? What are the kinds of things you consider? A lot of people do. You can sell it back to whoever owns. Every cemetery is different. Some will take it back from you if they can sell it for more than you pay. Others will give you a tax deduction. So it depends. When people are at the time, a lot of people just decide to buy a plot here. It's too inconvenient for the surviving spouse. We have one tomorrow. The surviving spouse did not want to go to Oklahoma where their family plot was. So instead, they bought a plot here at Temple Beth Shalom Cemetery in Sarasota. You have a beautiful section of Venice Memorial Gardens here that the rabbi handles. So, but we can certainly, every day we handle people whose bodies are shipped up north. We have a shomer locally who will sit with the deceased if this is the family's desire until the interment takes place. We have a Chaver Kadisha. There's 2. There's one here and there's one in Sarasota. If you already have a contract with another funeral home, they don't keep the money. All monies that funeral homes collect are put in escrow. At the time of death, then the money can be released. But we have many that have had contracts with other funeral homes and have decided to use us. There is no Jewish-owned funeral home in Sarasota. There was one a couple of years ago called Hebrew Memorial. I've even seen a member here, I forget, no, I'm not going to mention her, I don't remember. But she had a contract with them, and then they pulled out of Sarasota back to their home base in St. Petersburg, and then they sold her. So they were not successful. That's all I can say. And we have a number of people that have decided to use us. We're a small part of a very large organization. We have our company, parent company, owns almost 2,000 funeral homes. So, if you do need to be buried somewhere else, it's very seamless. If you see us, you only need one contract. If you use somebody else that's locally owned, you have to have a separate contract with someone else. We also have what's called a travel protection plan. So if you're away and you have to come back here, you can pay a very modest amount. And if you're in Israel, or you're in England, or in San Francisco, we bring your body back here for burial. We can meet with you in your home, Frank and I. It's all done with a computer. Or we can meet you in one of our offices. And we're going to have time for question and answer after this, because you're all the same, but you're all different. Everybody has different needs. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Frank Burns, who is an expert. We've done many of these seminars together. And in a few minutes, we're going to have a drawing for this. And it's a very pretty art object. And now I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Burns to give you some details.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hello.
Rabbi, do I need to do anything to turn this on?
You're all good.
Okay, very good, wonderful. I'd like to thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I'd like to thank Rabbi Schmerling for inviting us and for the Chabad community to welcome us here today. I'm here because we at Robert Toale & Sons Funeral Home want to be your funeral home of choice. And you do have a choice. It is an industry and there are many options out there, but we really do specialize in traditional Jewish funerals. We understand them and we know how to work with you and your family. And I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of why you should consider doing arrangements in advance. And I'm going to start by taking a poll. Who here is not planning to die? Raise your hand. Okay, wonderful. You don't need to listen then. But for the rest of you, Rabbi Schmerling, I was just thanking you for your invitation to be here. I was very sorry to hear about the horrible death of that rabbi in the UAE. We live in a very turbulent world, and it's a tragedy and a barbarity that something like that would happen. And I'm very sorry for that. But shalom, and thank you for being here. So I asked, and we have people still arriving, who here is not planning to die? We had a couple people. But for the rest of you, this is going to be very important. Whether you live to be as old as Methuselah or Moses, or whether you only have a short time left on this earth, it's important to make sure that your funeral arrangements are taken care of in advance. Why is that? Raise your hand if you think that planning a funeral is fun. Nobody. Raise your hand if you think maybe it could be fun. I try to make it fun. Raise your hand if you think it's a stressful thing to have to do. It's okay if you think that, and it can be. The most stressful time to plan a funeral is when somebody has died. You, your spouse, your children, they have a very limited time to get together in a time when they're feeling terrible. They've lost someone. There's an emotional duress that's going on. You can avoid that by taking care of those arrangements in advance. Like if you have a will or an estate plan, or if you have life insurance. Those are all things that you do because you love your family and you want to protect them. It's not something that maybe will benefit you directly, but you know it will benefit your family. Having a funeral plan is in that same category. So there are three really strong reasons why you should consider doing it. The first one is this is your opportunity while you are still alive to have a voice. This is your opportunity to say, this is how I want my funeral to be. The one thing that all of you have in common, you are members of the Chabad community. You are people of faith. You are people of tradition. You are people who have values. Do you want your funeral to reflect that? You can make that decision. If you are gone, somebody else is going to make that decision for you. Hopefully they will respect your wishes or even know what your wishes are, but there's no guarantee. I've seen children maybe who aren't as religious or don't share the same values as their parents, and they'll come in and they'll say, let's just do a quick and easy cremation. Well, that's not the Chabad way, right? So you can take that uncertainty factor out of it by making your wishes known in advance. And then there's no question about what you would want. And that emotional burden and responsibility doesn't fall to your spouse, your children, your family, or a stranger. You've already decided in advance how you want your arrangements to be. That's number one. Number two, funerals are not cheap, unfortunately. They're expensive. So who's going to pay for them? Well, again, you have the ability to take that off the table. You can take the money out of the equation, eliminate the temptation to cut corners, do things the cheap and easy way, do things the traditional way if that's what you want. And then when you pass away, your spouse, your children, they can show up as a participant in the funeral, not as somebody who's responsible for writing a check. They don't have to worry about the cost. It's taken care of. The third benefit is actually a benefit to you, the financial benefit. If you have a pre-planned funeral, you pay the price that it costs today to do that funeral arrangement. Not the price tomorrow, not the price in a year, not in the price in 5 years or 10 years. Who here thinks that the cost of a funeral is going to be less expensive in 5 or 10 years than it is today? No, it's not. In fact, the cost of funerals doubles every 5 years, believe it or not. If you've seen prices go up at the grocery store, at the gas pump, at the car dealership, guess what? It's happening in the funeral industry too. Transportation, labor, materials, expenses, they're all going up. If you have a pre-planned funeral, the price you have today is guaranteed and locked in forever. Again, if you live as old as Methuselah or Moses, you could have a funeral that could cost 4 or 5 times as much as it costs today. That's not your problem to worry about. What's that?
Let it be this way.
Yes, exactly. It's a smart thing to do. So you can save money. Also, because you are members of the Chabad community and you are here today, we can even offer you a discount off of your funeral arrangements, a discount off of today's prices, which is really a double discount. You're paying today's prices for something you will need in the future, which will inevitably cost more money, and you'll get to pay less today than you will in the future. I hope that all of you have one of these gray folders, all right? This gray folder has a lot of important information, okay? There's a flyer here about Robert Toale and Sons Funeral Home, and there's a little page where you can take notes. I've also put here a package that is most commonly chosen, funeral goods and services for Chabad members. As Jerry mentioned, I am not a Jew, I'm a Goy. However, I am an expert in Jewish funeral planning because I've worked for a very long time with the Jewish community. Orthodox, conservative, reform. Obviously, I know what Chabad requirements are, what Chabad desires are, what their needs are. And this is the plan that we have for them. It can be custom tailored to your particular needs, but for most people, this is what Rabbi Schmerling and the other Chabad rabbis approve in terms of burial plans, okay? And we can discuss this at greater length if and when you decide you would like to discuss your own personal needs. But this does include things such as the Tahara service, which is an important ritual in Jewish burial traditions. It includes a very traditional all-wood Jewish casket. It includes a Jewish unlined vault for Orthodox services. And it includes a discount. And you'll notice the discount is $770, okay? That's a number that is very special for the Chabad community, all right? If you were doing a traditional discount, you like that? The $770. If you do any type of travel outside of the area, let's say you go on a trip to visit family, or you go on a cruise, or you go to Israel, we have a plan that will relocate you to this area for burial at no additional cost to you. We can talk about those details, but it's highly recommended because it can be very, very expensive and very, very time-consuming and a big hassle to repatriate someone from another part of the country, another part of the world here. If you have, as Jerry mentioned, a cemetery plot or your desire is to be buried somewhere else than Florida, we have the ability to make that arrangement for you as well and make it seamless. We work in conjunction with another one of our affiliate funeral homes in another part of North America, and we do the arrangements on both ends so that when you pass away, we expeditiously take care of your needs and we make sure that you end up where you want to be buried at that particular location. If you move, Let's say you don't know if you're going to be living in this area in the future. We have funeral homes all across the country that can transfer and accept your plans at the locked-in price. Whether you move to New York or California or Oklahoma, we have funeral homes that will honor those prices for you. And your plan will travel with you, so you don't have to start over. Most funeral homes don't have that ability. Their ability is as far as they can drive. But if you move to another part of the country, you have to start over with other funeral homes. We don't have that restriction. That's another benefit. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we have the experience and the confidence of members of the Jewish community to ensure that your arrangements are going to be in keeping with your values, beliefs, and traditions here at Chabad. And that peace of mind and that clarity is really priceless. And that is what I would say, while we can certainly give you financial incentives and benefits and savings and have this all tied up, the emotional peace of mind that you get from knowing that when the time comes, when God calls you home, everything is taken care of for your family is truly priceless. You can't put a price on that. So how do we do this? The best way to do this, if you think you're going to need it, other than the lady here who is never going to die, if you think that this is something that can benefit you, then let us know. Jerry and I will be happy to meet with you to discuss your particular family situation, help you put a plan of your choosing into place, answer any questions you may have about your particular situation, adjust the plan to your particular needs, and then help you lock it in. So, a couple of points I want to make. In this folder here, this is a proposal for the traditional Chabad burial, along with today's costs. At the bottom, in red, so nobody can miss it, it says prices effective the 10th of December and are subject to change without notice. That is not a threat, that is a fact of life. Unfortunately, our prices are going up. They always go up. They traditionally go up after the new year when we get our pricings locked in for the next year. So if this is something that will benefit you, the sooner, we don't want anyone to rush or make a hasty decision, but the sooner you have the ability to put it in place, the sooner you can lock these prices and they're guaranteed and the discount in. If you wait a year, these prices will no longer be valid, but we will still give you the best benefit possible. But my recommendation is that you come in when you are clear-minded, when you are not stressed, when you have the ability to make a good, rational decision. Not when you've been given a bad diagnosis, when you've been told that you need hospice care, when the end is near, because then people are very emotionally distressed. It's a difficult thing to discuss, and then of course it's hard to come up with the money if you haven't planned for it. We do offer payment plans. If it's not something that you can pay all at once, it can be paid off over time if that benefits you. We have a number of different ways that we can set it up for you depending on your particular needs. But this truly is a benefit for you, your spouse, your children, your family. Even if you're single and don't have family, that's an even more important reason. Because if you don't have family, who's going to make sure that this gets done properly for you when you're not here? Rabbi Schmerling will, of course. But we don't want Rabbi to have to do everybody's funeral plans. We want you to be able to do it for you, right?
Yes, train.
That's right. That's right. Rabbi's got a lot on his plate. This is something that we can help him and you with. So the best way to do that is for us to meet. My contact information is in here. I'm Frank. That's Jerry. He's our Jewish liaison. You may call or email either of us, set up an appointment. Our offices are based out of Sarasota, but we do serve the Venice and the Northport community. That is not a problem. You are part of our family here. If you would like to come to our office, that's fine. It's not that far away, but if you prefer an in-home consultation, Jerry and I will find a date and time that's convenient to come visit you. We do have a sign-in sheet. I encourage all of you at that table there, if you haven't already, please put your email address and your telephone number down. I promise you, I will not be calling you 10 times a day, 9 o'clock at night harassing you. It's just so I have a record of who is here and who is eligible to receive this special pricing. And so that, I just knocked off the microphone, I apologize. I'm a little animated here. And so that I have the ability to follow up with you if you want to. Nobody is holding a gun to anybody's head. I feel that this is something that you will want to do because you understand that it benefits you. If you don't agree, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do it, but it is something that we can help you with. And I encourage you, not just for yourself, but for your friends, relatives, neighbors, other Chabad members who aren't here today, tell them about it. There are extra folders at the table. Give them a folder to take home. Everybody can benefit, except for you. I know you're living forever. But everybody else can benefit from it, right?
They're gonna stop me up.
That's right, that's right. But, I mean, believe it or not, there are a lot of people who are going to not take this seriously, and if it's important to you that you get buried the Chabad way, you avoid cremation, you avoid embalming, you avoid visitation, all the stuff the goys do. Don't let that to chance. Take charge of it yourself and make it happen. So Jerry and I will be here if you have any specific questions, or if you want to open it up to question and answer, I'll let Jerry take over.
We're going to have a question and answer. You've all had your food. I'm going to ask Rabbi Yosef to come
I'm
up.
going to give you a microphone.
Rabbi Yosef,
Is mine still on?
Yeah, I can turn off if you like, unless you both kind of take.
No, you keep them both on if that's all right.
Rabbi Yosef, we need you. Oh, make sure these people get a raffle kit.
Sure.
Oh, we're going to have a raffle drawing
just
right
in
now,
time.
but someone's just come in. I want to make sure that they get a ticket.
We have time for question and answer.
And we have time for questions and answers, which will occur right now. Hold on.
Rabbi Shalom. Rabbi Shalom.
Yeah, I'll take questions. I mean,
Jerusalem Guard is what Chabad has?
yeah,
What does that have to do with this? Is there a?
okay, let me explain.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me explain.
because I was interested in
Yeah, they
Jerusalem
haven't
Guard.
gotten one, we get second line.
We have question and answer now.
What was the question? The question was, what is our Chabad's cemetery in relationship to what this presentation is today? And if I may add, there are several components to get a burial done from A to Z. And technically, you're dealing with 3 parties. And I will break that down because people think one and they take care of one and then they think it's all taken care of, if I may, right? So let's just talk about we talk about the people who are gonna live for a long, long life, right? So we'll take Mr. So-and-so is gonna live for another 100 years till he's only 20, right? When he passes away, he needs to have a plot, a burial plot, that's number 1. He needs to have a funeral home, and then he needs to have the actual cemetery service that's going to bury him. That's in our community, that's 3 different parties, which means you're dealing with the cemetery plot, to get your own plot. If you would go and buy a plot in our section, you would come into our office, and Freddie and I will go out you to the cemetery, show you, and you can select a plot you want and do the paperwork, purchase of a plot. The pricing for a cemetery, so what we did at Chabad was we bought over 150 new plots just last year. We expanded after selling over 100 plots. We had to expand to another 150. So the price for the plots today, as you said, prices are going up. We were able to lock into a wholesale price with the cemetery. Right now it's $3,600 a plot for a Chabad member. If you're not a member, it's $4,200. if you go to the cemetery and buy a plot, the same plot will cost you $6,500. The same plot costed $2,000, $2,500 10 years ago. So they're right, prices just keep rising and rising. So locking in price is definitely a good idea. Then you take care of your plot, and you take care of your funeral home. Funeral home's responsibility is the pickup, the transportation of the body, hosting the body, and preparing the body for burial, which includes the casket, the washing of the tahara, do all the paperwork, the death certificates, etc. That's the funeral home's responsibility. The third party you're going to deal with is the actual cemetery crew burying at the day of burial, which you can also prepay. So I know it's confusing. I wish there'd be one.
Yeah.
You can do everything under one roof, but that's what we're working together, so it will make this always as smooth as possible. But I cannot emphasize enough what he said. Do it now. Don't wait till after someone passes away. It creates a tremendous emotional chaos at time of burial when you have to taken care of paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. And that is an important distinction because as you'll see here, there's a note at the bottom of this price sheet, not included. Cemetery property, the plots, that is through Chabad. Cemetery interment fees, those get paid to Venice Memorial Gardens. Headstones, same thing. And then any type of additional services through the rabbi. So yes, you have a question?
Yes, do you work, like you mentioned, contracts? If I die here and my family is here, but I'm being buried in another state where other family members are, do you need two contracts? A contract with you all here and a contract for the receiving party in another state?
The answer is yes, you do. However, if you work with our company, we can do an all-in-one package because we have receiving funeral homes in other states, unless maybe it's Alaska or someplace really strange. But for most places, we can do everything on one contract because we have affiliate funeral homes in the receiving location.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't want to do it that way, then you're responsible for reaching out to a local funeral home in that other location and doing a separate contract. So it's your choice, but we can arrange everything all in one package for you. Yes, sir.
So your fees include working with the other company in another state?
Correct, yes. So, or with Venice Memorial Gardens. So while Venice Memorial Gardens will have its own set of fees, your family will not be responsible for, at the time of your death, coordinating everything. That's our job. So we'll be in touch with Chabad, we'll be in touch with the cemetery to schedule everything and get everything done so that your family doesn't have, you just contact our funeral director and we take it from there.
So there would be the fees for the Venice Memorial Gardens at the time?
Correct, yes. We're not affiliated with Venice Memorial Gardens, so we are not able to collect that fee for them. You'd pay them directly.
What is their fee?
Right now, it's $1,895. That is the interment service. So it's for them to basically excavate the grave and put your vault and casket in it and close it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are any of these fees for those still living tax deductible?
Unfortunately, no. There are no taxes on funeral services, but there's no tax deduction either.
I think going forward, maybe it will be, after January 20th.
Where do you buy a headstone?
So, Venice Memorial Gardens, is it Helm Vault? I'm not sure who
No.
provides the headstones. Rabbi, who does the headstones for your cemetery?
So, the Venice Memorial Gardens can
That's
do
also
it.
another question. How much is that?
We're also working with Helm, which is a local company, directly with our Chabad. We have it's easier working because whenever you do the headstone in our cemetery, I'm going to assist you with the Hebrew. And working with Helm has been a much easier with dealing with another company, and actually they're cheaper also. We do plan in the office to print a updated price sheet for all those questions and guidelines, so it can be all together. And I want to add one more thing, that you guys are not limited to the cemetery here. You can go to any cemetery in the area. Number one. Number two, like I said, there's a transportation. And third of all, we actually just transported somebody to Israel, somebody who wanted to be buried in Israel.
Wow.
That everything can be done. I cannot emphasize enough. Whatever you do, even if you did not pre-plan, the very least what you should do today is put in writing that your burial wishes, that you want to be buried with the traditional, and you can put my name on it, that I'll be making sure the decisions are made at the time. So before you're just thinking what to do, I have a form outside, I can print it, where you just fill it out, give it to your state attorney, to your children. They know what you want until you figure out what to do.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
veterans can be involved too.
The what?
Veterans.
Yes. Oh, so.
Some of these people might.
Yeah. So if you know, veterans actually at Venice Memorial Gardens can get a free plot. Just the plot itself. Veterans, we can also facilitate the burial at the Sarasota National, which we've done together with the funeral homes. So all that is also an option. Yes.
If you decide to go with the veteran at Sarasota National, there's no cost to you on the burial side. In other words, the plot for you and your spouse is free, and the digging of the grave. I mean, you save thousands by doing this. It costs. As a matter of fact, we have one there tomorrow with Rabbi Steinmetz in Sarasota. So we do this all the time. I want to ask, does everybody have a ticket? Because we're going to have a drawing very soon.
We're doing 5 minutes before we finish.
5 minutes,
Yeah,
when we're
5
finished.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
My question is about, excuse my voice. My question is about Tahara. Please be quiet.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah.
My question is about Tahara. Who are we paying this the $1,100 to? Bathing of the deceased in Tahara room, combination is $1,100. Is that being paid to the funeral home or to the Chevra Kaddish?
Both. So the funeral home is responsible for providing the location and the equipment and the materials. We have a state-of-the-art Tahara room, and also for the Hever Kadisha, so that you don't have to pay all different parties. It's included. The Tahara will be taken care of by our funeral home, and the responsible parties are paid for their services.
Does the purchase of the headstone include shipping it if it needs to be shipped or not?
The shipping installation.
Shipping and installation. We have worked, the Toale family has worked with Helm for 70 years. And they're very reliable, and they give a good price. Hold on. Oh, another ticket. Okay, any other questions before we have our drawing? One more question, yeah.
Will a rabbi officiate in a cemetery that is not a Jewish cemetery?
If it's a non-denominational, yes.
If it's what?
If it's in a non-Jewish cemetery, it's a case by case. We strongly encourage Jewish people to be buried in a Jewish section. What we did at Chabad here, we added a row that is right attached to our section for interfaith couples, where if somebody is not Jewish in the family, the ability to be buried together, and we'll definitely would officiate there. At the National Cemetery, it's not a Jewish cemetery, we do officiate there. So if it's a non-denominational cemetery, there is a way to do so. But I strongly encourage, because it's not, for example, and this would be maybe another seminar explaining the actual traditions that are done in burial. One of the requirements is burial should be in the ground, but in Florida, we have an issue with the water level, so the cemeteries bury in cement vaults. So there's a charge for a cement vault. Cement vault is not earth. From earth you come, from earth you shall return. What we do in our cemetery, in our section, that the cement vault have a hole on the bottom, where the ground gets connected to. If you go in a non-Jewish cemetery, or even in a section not ours, Adventist Memorial Guardian, they do not supply that type of vault. So it is a priority. Now, if somebody already made arrangements and that's the only way, there's a way to do things, and I'll deal with it on a case by case.
Okay, folks, we're at the end of our seminar, and I'm gonna ask Rabbi Schmerling to come.
No, they're gonna say that I'm biased. I'm joking. All right.
Maybe we should have Rabbi Yosef come.
Yeah, we can blame Rabbi Yosef.
If you don't get the winning ticket, you can blame Rabbi Yosef.
I'm giving a class on relationship. I don't want to ruin it right now.
Okay, just pick one and read the number. Look at your tickets, please.
Okay, tickets out. I do this in Hebrew school on a weekly basis. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Okay, if your ticket begins with 8, say I. If your next number is 7, say will. If the next number is 0, say be buried. If the next number is 5, say like. If the last numbers are 16, a Jew, say a Jew, and you're the winner. Anybody? 16, 5, 1, 6.
A Jew.
I'll be buried like a... Nobody?
A Jew.
Yeah? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Here we go.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Closest I'm gonna ever come to winning.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you,
Rabbi.
Frank again. Thank you so much.